The NBA has the City Edition jerseys, the MLB has the City Connect uniforms, and now the NFL has their very own version of this jersey trend, the NFL Rivalries series. These jerseys are supposed to be less about the team name and colors and more about paying homage to the city, state, or region in which they reside. Now, I've made videos in the past ranking the best and worst throwback jerseys, so why not take a crack at ranking the NFL's newest money grab, jersey series. So, first thing to note with this series is the NFL is only rolling out the uniforms for 8 teams a year for the next 4 years. So my apologies if you're a fan of one of the teams that'll get their city-themed jerseys in 2028. But if you're a fan of a team in either the AFC East or the NFC West, you're in luck because those are the 8 teams getting a new alternate jersey for this season. So without further ado, let's get into this list. Let's start with the bad. Coming in last place in this batch of new uniforms is the Los Angeles Rams. The NFL went through a black jersey phase in the early 2000s, and it worked for some teams and not so much for others. But the Rams are 20 years late to this party, and it doesn't work. There is no real creative relevance to America's second largest city, Los Angeles. I actually think it would have been pretty cool if they used a graffiti number font instead of their normal number font on the jersey. If you've been to LA, graffiti is very prevalent. And this blue on the sleeves is a weird, unnecessary addition. I will give them this though. Those yellow horns are going to pop off those black matte helmets during a primetime night game. But the only time the Rams will be wearing these uniforms this season is during a 1 p.m. local time game. So cool. I think that's a missed opportunity from the Rams, and it's not a great jersey. So final grade, D. The San Francisco 49ers. If this jersey seems lazy, that's because it is. This is just their black color rush jerseys from 2016 with a new saloon number font. And don't get me wrong, I think the number font was an awesome choice, but that's about the extent of the creativity. The only reference to the Bay is in their team mantra Faithful, written on the chest, which I guess makes sense because the Raiders left the Bay in 2020. That's not very faithful to the Bay. Now, this jersey isn't hard on the eyes, but does it go with the theme of this series? Or is it just another black jersey for the sake of having a black jersey? I'm not from San Francisco, so if you are, or you're a fan of the team, let me know in the comments whether you feel like this represents the city or not. I don't think it does, so my final grade will be D+. The Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins' rivalry jerseys seems to be another excuse to introduce a black jersey to a team that's never had a black jersey. But where this jersey truly fails in the terms of the rivalry series is it's supposed to be a city-themed jersey, similar to the MLB's City Connection jerseys. So let's look into these little details that are supposed to make this a Miami-themed jersey. Alright, the matte helmet with the sunburst details on the back bumper of the helmet. Oh no, how are the players supposed to end racism? Our Roots, with 305 written on the front bumper, and that's the only connection to Miami. I wonder if they had to license that from Pitbull. Unmistakable orange accent. You know who else has an unmistakable orange accent? Your cross-state rivals, the Buccaneers. Pitch blue color base. Alright, so this isn't a black jersey, it's just a super dark blue. Huh. I don't know whether that makes that better or worse. I'm leaning towards it actually makes it better, because it's not just a black jersey for a black jersey's sake. It's my least favorite thing that teams do. But overall, there's just not a ton of creativity here. There's no real connection to the city. And I know the Miami Vice colorway is very played out when you're talking about the city of Miami, but I saw some jersey concepts using that idea of that unmistakable blue and pink, and it looked so good. I mean, come on, look at that. This is what this jersey series is talking about. It's about taking big chances and stepping away from the norm to represent the city. And I think the Dolphins missed a huge opportunity here, even if the Miami Vice is a little cliche. And because of that missed opportunity, the final grade, I give this a D+. Next up, the Seattle Seahawks. I'll start with what I like about these uniforms. The helmet is a super unique dark emerald color that is a perfect fit for Seattle because Seattle is the Emerald City. There's a shout out to the 12s within the actual numbers. The biggest knock on these jerseys is that Nike just recycled an Oregon uniform. And I think that's a very fair criticism, but outside of the helmet and these, I guess they're supposed to be sound waves, this is very similar to their gray uniform as it is. So I don't think they took a huge risk. I think they started off good with the helmet, and then they just kind of copied Oregon and mailed in the rest. Final grade, C-. The New York Jets. The Jets are another team that went all black. And at first glance, I wasn't a fan, mostly because I saw it with this picture, and I thought to myself, the Jets just released a black jersey a couple years ago, and it wasn't good either. But the more I looked at these jerseys, I started to see the little details that made this jersey the best of the black jerseys on this list. They went with the all black and gray. They didn't try and force green into it like they did with their other blackout jersey. The manhole cover print on the sleeves is very New York, and the custom font is a very nice touch. Final grade, B-. The Arizona Cardinals took the biggest swing so far in the NFL Rivalries series, and I think of all the teams in this first wave of uniforms, they understood the assignment. I believe this series was a chance for the NFL teams to take risks in terms of uniforms, and no one took a bigger risk than the Cardinals. They went with a sand-colored uniform with red numbers and a copper accent. Fun fact, Arizona would be known as the Copper State if it wasn't for that giant hole you know as the Grand Canyon. Cardinal fans have been begging for the Arizona State flag to be back on the sleeve for over a decade now, and they got a version of it with this decal here. Also, no other uniform had a better PR stunt, because 2 days before the Cardinals released their sand-colored uniforms, the Phoenix Valley had a huge haboob, which is the silliest way to say sandstorm. The only real criticism I have with this jersey is the speckled pattern they used. Ignoring the fact that Nike already used this concept with Oregon, at this point, what hasn't Oregon done jersey-wise? But my biggest gripe with this jersey is the dark speckled pattern combined with the sand-colored base. It kind of makes the entire thing look like a giant tortilla. Like I haven't been able to unsee it. I think that's a slight oversight from Nike, but tortillas are pretty popular in the Southwest, so it still kind of works. Final grade, B+. The New England Patriots. The Patriots rivalry uniforms are pretty sneaky, and I think New England put the most thought into the littlest details. First off, it's a very clean look. Now, I didn't see this in any of the promotional material they released, but it kinda looks like they took inspiration from an American Revolutionary War jacket.
Dude, that's cool.
The 6 stars on the collar represent the 6 New England states, the fish netting on the shoulders and pants, a shout out to the fishing industry of New England. There's a slight nod to the 1990s jerseys in the numbering, and the matte white helmet and the icy face mask are a perfect portrayal of a New England winter. The only way to make this uniform more New England is to use a flannel pattern and put a Noah Kahan lyric on the inside of the collar. The only criticism of this jersey is the big NE on the shoulder. Like, I get it, it just looks out of place. But don't get it twisted, this jersey is clean with a lot of regional significance, and they're the only team that is representing a region, not a city or a state. And I think they did it very well. And I believe that's what the whole rivalry series is trying to convey. So final grade for the Patriots, A-. The Buffalo Bills are hands down the best jersey in this group. They leaned all the way into the snowy tundra of Buffalo. The Bills always have a memorable snow game every couple of years, so this is a perfect representation of Buffalo. I mean, the white on white on white, the icy cracks on the pants, shoulder, and helmets, the embossed logo on the sleeve to the silvered out logo on the helmet. This is just too clean. I have no notes. I do have one regret, and that regret is that the Bills are going to be wearing these iced out jerseys on October 5th and not in the middle of December. At least that game is on a Sunday night. Final grade for the Bills, A+. So there you have it, the first 8 uniforms of the NFL Rivalry Series. I will have a part 2 to this series when the NFL releases the next 8 uniforms in 1 year. But while you wait these next 11 months, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe and check out some of my other videos. And other than that,
Playa!